Uh, and welcome back to Jimmy and Jake's USL Adventure Week 7 edition. Jake, are you ready to play How's Your Touch?
I'm ready to look like a fool once again.
All right, so you gotta stay with me on this. I do have a USL Championship tie-in as part of this, but um this kind of came up in my research this week, so I wanted to bring it in here. So, can you name so there was original like over whatever it was like a 20-year period there was like almost 60 different North American Soccer League teams that played and started and died. Some of them lasted longer, but of the NSAL team, NASL, geez Louise, NASL teams still which teams are still around today from the original NASL?
You're talking about just in USL or?
No, in any part of
Oh, okay.
the American pyramid.
I'm going to say Vancouver Whitecaps. I'm going to say Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Hmm.
I'm going to say I know it'd be cheating, but I know there's some form of Cosmos around still, but
I don't have the Cosmos listed as one of the ones
no.
still around. And
Mm.
but you're on the right track with the Whitecaps. Think the Cascadia. Uh,
Oh yeah, Portland Timbers.
mhm.
And then has Pittsburgh been around that long?
No, 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 no. They're not.
No.
They're not that long. No, they're Pittsburgh's not even around as long as Charleston Battery. The other teams that we're looking for were the Sounders and the Earthquakes.
That's
Um,
right.
the Rowdies is the tie-in here. You know, they were originally part of the NASL, and then they had folded in '93 when they refounded in 2008. Um, they had to go through the process of getting the rights to use the Rowdies name. They were actually FC Tampa Bay, I think, for a season while they officially got those rights. But it is technically a Phoenix version of the club, the current version anyway. So
Those
um,
uh those
yeah, go ahead.
Pele era teams that existed around that time, some of those jerseys you can find like knockoffs. Like I remember there's this one site that was doing like recreations of all the old NASL and old US indoor teams. Like they had like the Los
Yeah.
Angeles Lasers.
Oh yeah.
Sweet, really sweet jerseys.
Absolutely. Well, why do you think your friend over at what's that guy's name? Scotty Matchmaker Michaels wants to
The
sell all those again. We won't go down that rabbit hole. All
Rogue
right,
AI.
yeah, exactly. All right, so we got lots of games to get into, so let's get right into it. I got the lion's share this week. I believe we had no crossovers, right? This is all East Coast, then West Coast as far as matchups this week.
I believe so,
Um,
yeah.
Yep. So the first one we're gonna go to is we're gonna go straight to Detroit. It was a big matchup against Rhode Island coming into town. Obviously, Rhode Island was the Eastern Conference representative in the final last year. DCFC wants to be there, and Rhode Island just happened to take our good friend Maxi Rodriguez. Before we get into that, this is the third game we've done at Detroit, so I did want to do a USL D1 heat check for them. Stadium capacity at Keyworth is no, and even in their new stadium, I believe is no. I want to say I read it was about 14,000 was the estimate for the new stadium, but it's still being built, so you never know. The market, obviously, Detroit is over well over a million in the metro area, but the ownership group is a concern. There's nobody there that's worth over individually worth over $10 million, so that would have to be addressed as well. As far as this game goes, big win for Detroit. Rhode Island right from the jump had some trouble. They got a straight red card in the 6th minute. Kind of a weird one. But that followed up with Darren Smith getting a goal in the 17th and 19th minute, and that's all Detroit needs to salt away a win to a win for them. The highlight here is early Golden Boot candidate is from Detroit? Question mark. Yeah, Smith has got 4 goals in the last 2 matches for them, and actually 4 goals in the last 106 minutes of game time for him. So he is a little bit on a heater right now. Detroit in this game, 12 shots, 5 on target, 53% possession. Rhode Island, understandably, only I mean they had 8 shots, but only one on target, 47% possession. Playing down a man for 84 minutes is going to do that to you. But big win for Detroit. Rhode Island that can finally lick their wounds. It's been, we're in week 7. I think they played 6 games, but their next USL Championship game will be their home opener in their brand new stadium. So they have that to look forward to.
Darren Smith, 6 goals, 0 assists. Selfish.
That's a striker, bud. That's a striker.
Yeah. We are heading to Oakland, the Bay, where Orange County came to town. This is, as we like to call it, a Brighton special from Orange County. 66% of the ball, with 459 passes to Oakland's 197. 5 yellow cards for Oakland. Oakland gets their second win in a row, starting to heat up and no longer in the cellar of the Western Conference. So we're going to go to the 10th minute for the Oakland's first goal. Barely onside, Peter Wilson gets a hold of a ball in the box, shoots it, shots blocked, and the ball just kind of comes back to him. Pretty much point blank off the keeper. He grips back onto this ball, kind of does like a loop, turns around, and lays it off to Wolfgang Prentice, who does a little bit of a dance and sends it home. It's Prentice's 4th goal and 3rd in his last 2. Dude's heating up. So we're at 1-0 Oakland at this point. 31st minute, just really ugly passing, and then right after, really ugly defending. Leads to a goal for Peter Wilson. Cross falls to like a wide open Jurgen Dahm. So we're going to pause for a sec. Jimmy, if you had to guess, what nationality is Jurgen Dahm?
This is a little bit of a cheat because I already know. I'm sorry. It's the name screams Dutch, but he is actually Mexican. And I used to in like the 2016 version or whatever it was of FIFA for video games. He was actually really fun to buy when he was young because he was super fast. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your trivia there.
Yeah, I was surprised. I remember him back in the day. Liga MX fans will remember him with his time with Tigres, I believe. Really good fullback. But it falls to just a wide open Jurgen Dahm, and he's like sitting in the box, like by almost to the 6-yard box. He's just sitting there, and the defender, for whatever reason, refuses to close out, and Dahm just kind of sits there, bounces, and then I counted 4 seconds he holds the ball in the box without moving, without dribbling, just sitting there trying to decide where he's going to send it. Sends it right onto Wilson's noggin, who jumps over 2 defenders that are fronting him at that point. This sequence right here is going to lead to a series next week that we're going to introduce, where Jimmy is going to review and question keeper tactics throughout USL. I will be sending him clips, but that'll be next week. So Colin Shuttler, Orange County's goalkeeper, looked lazy to me. Maybe he could have gotten there. And then the 2 defenders that are fronting him, like, you guys aren't going to jump. So Wilson himself's having a good season so far. 1 goal, 3 assists in 6 matches. He's having a really good season after joining from, and I wanted to include this because it might be funny for our listeners to hear me try to pronounce hard things. He joined from Fotballklubben Jerv, where he scored 20 goals in the Post Nordligaen, and that's the Norway 2nd division for all of you that don't know ball. And that is it. Oakland closes out, 2nd win in a row, finishing the game 2-0.
Next week's How's Your Touch is just going to be, can you read all of the club names from the Swedish 2nd division? That's what we're going to go with.
I won't be able to continue. It'll be like heavy tongue syndrome. It's just done at that point.
Yeah, Jimmy, can you read the rest of my notes? Yeah, absolutely. All right. So from the sunny bay of Oakland, all the way back across the country to Hartford. We finally get a home game for Hartford Athletic, hosting Birmingham Legion. Hartford gets a win here, 1-0. Before we get into the game, like I said, it's our first home game in Hartford. So a little bit about the park. It is Trinity Health Stadium. formerly known as Dillon Stadium from 1935 to 2022. It's expandable up to 10,000, and it's a turf field, which is disappointing because it was natural grass, I think, up until 2019. And it is also the shared home for Hartford City FC, which is an NPSL squad. So cool to see teams within the pyramid sharing there. The game was largely pretty boring, which is disappointing considering Birmingham's attacking output the last couple weeks. But Beckford gets the goal here for Hartford. The headline here is Hartford lives. They had more shots on target this game than all season combined. It's their first goal of the season. It's their first win of the season. Good on them. They had 9 total shots, 5 on target, 46% possession. Birmingham only 8 shots, only 1 on target, 54% possession. Not their best showing for Birmingham. They seem to be a little inconsistent this year, but we'll have to see where they go from here. So I think you're taking us back out to the desert for your next game.
I am. Just real quick. I know there's a lot of complaints about like European leagues being farmer leagues, like the best teams are always on top or whatever. El Paso beat Hartford. Hartford beat Birmingham. Birmingham beat El Paso. This league is wide open. Come join the fun. So we're heading to Phoenix, and surprisingly, it wasn't that hot for that match. I was trying to find the temperature for it because I had seen that they had hit 100 degrees earlier than I believe they ever have. I might have read that wrong, but for this match, it was actually, I think, like 80 something degrees. So Phoenix without the home field advantage just quite yet. This game ends 2-2. Sacramento has become shoot yourself in the foot FC. They just like can't hold leads. Like they just screw themselves the whole time. So 19th minute, pretty much an even match, 52% of the ball for Phoenix. Sacramento had more shots with 15-4 on target. Phoenix had more passes with 333 to 296. We go to the 19th minute. Sacramento's Russell Cicerone. He sends a shot in that gets redirected hockey style. Been a couple of those goals this season throughout USL by Juan Herrera. Phoenix goalkeeper Patrick Rakowski gets spun around. So like he's going one way, ball goes the other way, and then he just kind of does like a twirl on his knee and looks like a fool. 34th minute, ball gets played to an open Jack Gurr. I've enjoyed watching Jack Gurr play. He is a fun English fullback. Gets the ball on the right of the box. He plays across back to the left, and Dominic Warner sort of cosplays as Zinedine Zidane, the dollar store variety, and volleys at home 2-0 Sacramento. He hit this thing just like that Champions League goal that Zidane had. Was it Champions League or was it World Cup? It was Champions League, where he side foots the volley from like way out. Yeah, but this one was like almost to the 6-yard box. So still pretty damn cool. Great goal, great team goal. We go to the 37th minute. This is when Sacramento starts to screw themselves. Phoenix's Joel Margarita is a really fun player. If you have a chance to watch Phoenix go, they haven't had that much success sort of in the win column, but their forwards, I mean, as it's been since I became a fan of Locomotive and became introduced to this league, Phoenix has always had really fun attacking football, and Margarita's continuing that. Great through ball from Remy Cabral allows Margarita to set up on sort of the right side of the box. He stops, like he gets the ball, goes, pulls it back, and kind of does a move. And one guy just keeps running, and the other defender just falls flat on his ass and does like a and he sends a left footer into the left side netting. He rocketed this thing. So 2-1, still Sacramento at that point. We have the 79th minute. Phoenix, in my notes, Phoenix has some dudes that can dribble. Cabral gets his second assist of the game. He holds up play. Really, really great striker play from Cabral in this game as far as like just being able to stop the ball and wait for his guys. Holds up play, passes to Damian Rivera, who subbed on in the 46th minute. He pulls the ball back fakes out 2 defenders by doing it, like just dribbling in a phone booth pretty much for this guy. Fakes out the 2 defenders, slams one home, game ends 2-2. Sacramento once again just playing themselves all the way into the bottom of the table.
Yeah, they've definitely been slow to start the season. I thought that they would be, middle to top of the Western Conference, but like we were talking about in the green room, if you will, before the recording, just um, how cannibalistic the Western Conference has really been so far this year.
Yeah.
All right, so we're heading to arguably one of the best teams in the league right now. We're going to Leesburg, Virginia, and Loudoun United, hosting the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Quick Loudoun USL D1 check. Stadium capacity, no. Segra Field is only 5,000. Certainly, there's enough space there that if they needed to expand, they could, but something to be to look out for. Market, again, 75% of the teams in your league need to have a million or more people in your metro area. Loudoun doesn't meet that requirement. They are only 400,000 in Loudoun County and that metro surrounding metro area. And then the ownership, it's a mixed group of people who own Loudoun, including 20% ownership for DC United. So if you include that, the DC United ownership, then yes. But I imagine that if we get Loudoun United in a D1 environment, there's going to have to be some ownership changes for the DC United group. But I digress. So this game, it was actually a pretty fun game to watch. 2-1 was the final. Loudoun gets the win here. Um, Leggett gets the goal in the 33rd minute. That's the second game in a row for him. And then followed up by in the 71st minute, Garcia hits an absolute gem of a shot, curler to the upper right corner. We got a tie ball game in the 71st minute. And then in the 75th minute, we get a red card for Pittsburgh. And shortly after that, Abukara on a heater, 81st minute, gets a goal just inside the post on the right-hand side. The keeper can't quite get to it. Loudoun gets the win here. Headline for this game is, "Who's that man?" Abukara has got 6 goals and 1 assist in 7 games so far. And he's really been the driver, one of the drivers behind Loudoun's success. I mean, I mentioned Leggett as well. He's got a couple goals. And then Florian Below has just been kind of the midfield maestro for them. So they're really exciting to watch. If you haven't gotten a chance, check out a Loudoun United game. They got something cooking there, something cooking in Leesburg, Virginia. So staying in kind of that part of the country, we're just gonna head over to Kentucky and Lexington, hosting the first place Monterey Bay FC.
This match was a whole lot of nothing. Even match, 51% of the ball for Monterey. Lexington had more shots, 15 shots, 4 on target, 325 passes for Lexington, 341. My main note for this game, other than being upset, mainly at Lexington for kind of slowing down at this point of the season, and Monterey Bay not showing us what they're capable of doing during this game. This should have been fireworks, and it wasn't. So my main note for the game is Monterey Bay's Nico Campuzano playing against his former club. I don't know the inner workings of that, whether it was we want Logan more than you, or if he was just ready to move on. But the Spaniard has another solid match, 4 saves, and has only allowed 4 goals against in 7 matches this season. And that he's having a really, really good season. It's been fun to watch that whole Monterey Bay team play. And once again, like I said, 0-0, very, very disappointing. I know Lexington is moving up a league, but they have some really, really exciting players that impressed us earlier in the season. So I'm wanting to see them get back on track so we can watch some fun football.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nico's name is actually going to come up later. Spoiler alert. Yeah, he is having an excellent season. Although it looks like Monterey Bay is going to actually fall tonight. And we're behind the curtains here. We record usually on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And this Wednesday we just happen to have two games going on. So games that we're not going to cover, or that Jake's not going to be able to cover, not be able to. We're just not going to cover is the San Antonio Colorado Springs game that's going on right now, and then New Mexico Monterey Bay, which is almost over 1-0 right now. But yeah, certainly he's having a very good season. Monterey Bay is having a good season, but maybe a little more pragmatism the last couple of weeks as they've gotten to the top of the table instead of continuing where like last year, they started hot and kind of faded. So we'll have to see where they go. Speaking of teams on a heater, we're heading down to Miami for yet another home game at Pitbull Stadium or Pitbull Field or whatever the hell it's called. And they hosted North Carolina FC and back-to-back wins for old Miami here. 2-1 win over North Carolina. Last sort of note about Miami, I tried to find some famous players that have appeared, and I did want to note when you mentioned that Phoenix has had great strikers. I mean, shit, they've had arguably the best player in all of USL Championship history. Didier Drogba played for them, kind of for a season, right, as part of the ownership group. But I digress. As far as Miami goes, not a lot of players per se that have like names that you would recognize, but other names around the club that you might recognize is Paolo Maldini is one of the founding owners for Miami FC. Obviously, Alessandro Nesta was their first head coach, and then another former AC Milan player and current coach in for the Las Vegas Lights is Nocerino, was also a former coach in Miami. This game, what Miami does best is strike when you aren't paying attention. They tend to just be absorb, and then direct. So for them, again, they get 2 goals here within 8 minutes. Bonfiglio in the 18th, and then Knutson in the 26th minute. And North Carolina gets one right before halftime and second minute stoppage time, but can't get one in the second half. So the highlight or the headline for this game is they're not that bad. And I think I said this a little bit a couple weeks ago when Miami had been losing, as they were at least losing competitively for the most part. But they've won the last 2 games, both 2-1. And honestly, I can't overstate the importance of Bill Hamid, and settling that defense, settling that team. He's really locked down that position for them. And if Miami's going to continue this sort of success, he's going to be a big part of it. They're still able to generate. There's lots of shots in this game, right? 10 shots for Miami, 4 on target. North Carolina had 14 shots, 5 on target. So, another 4 saves for Bill Hamid. He's having a great season, and I'm happy to see it. And as woeful as Miami has been, and as terrible as it is to see that whatever color green field in Miami, they're getting results. So good on them. So from Miami, we're heading back up into the mountains, and a struggling champion. Jake, tell us what's going on with in Colorado.
Just real quick, shout out Bill Hamid. He followed me on Twitter before I deleted my account. So yeah, we're heading to Colorado, and this game was disappointing for multiple reasons, but I was able to see the silver lining. I'm actually working on something, written piece for our Beyond the 90. It's titled Doctor Strange Fan, or How I Learned to Stop Hating and Learn to Love Locomotive, in parentheses, again. So some good things out of this game. El Paso ended up dominating the possession. That kind of sort of came from what happened at the beginning of the second half. 65% of the ball, 76% of the ball in the second. 16 shots, 9 on target. 11 of those shots came in the second half. 469 passes to 230 passes. So this ends up being a wasted opportunity for Locomotive. 9 of Locomotive's 21 goals this season have come from corners. So set piece FC. The 12th minute, things start off bad for my boys. Colorado's first shot is a goal. A little 1-2 between Justin Dillon and Herbert Endele leads to Endele breaking into the box and putting switchbacks ahead Locomotive just got broken down on this. Justin Dillon doing once again what he became famous for in San Antonio, just being that big target man that can also make a pass. Wish.com Harry Kane. He is good, man. I don't know what Locomotive was trying to do with him last season. Just weird shit. But yeah, that guy is good. But yeah, he gets the ball. Endeley dribbles the ball in, passes it to Dillon with his back to the goal. Dillon just kind of taps it right back, and it sort of creates like a pick play. And Endeley just goes towards the left and just hammers it. But in the 13th minute, Locomotive answer right back. Eric Calvillo, he plays a really, really nice ball into Amano Moreno, who's on the right side of the box, and he sort of does like a chip cross thing. Robert Coronado's running onto the ball and just sort of, boom, just real quick flick into the goal. So, yeah, we end up 1-1. The 18th minute, switchbacks get a set-piece goal, long set-piece header, but it's called back for offside. So I don't know if he was or not, but there's no VAR, so ha ha ha. 46th minute. Huh?
Oh, just no VAR is just fantastic.
It is. It's so much more fun. I mean, you can just bitch and moan.
Yeah.
Colorado's Zachary Zondi, who's a guy who's had success against Locomotive in the past. He receives his second yellow. Just a really, really dumb foul. I believe, like at the end of the first half, like you could clearly see the ref. I had to rewind for this because WrestleMania was on this weekend. For all of you that don't know, shout out John Cena. But yeah, you can see the ref sort of telling him like one more and you're done. One more and you're done. And then sure enough, pretty much right as the second half starts, my boy, he draws the foul. The commentators call it harsh. I call it gamemanship from King Andres. Second half is just a combination of missed opportunities, weak shots, and great goalkeeping. Like we got goalied. And to be quite honest, Abraham Romero, I don't know a lot about him. He doesn't seem like he's really that great of a keeper, but he just balled out, like put the team on his back. 8 total saves, two of those diving, and 5 of those from inside the box. And he ends up saving a point. I texted you guys pissed at the end of the game, but going back through this and watching again, one of the things Locomotive couldn't do last year was create opportunities from open play, and they did that in this game. Yeah, it was a man down, but we gave up a goal in the first 12 minutes, and we literally answered right back a minute later, and then we went to work. Like, this wasn't like, oh, we're away, we're going to just try to see what we could do. No, like, they were hammering it. I'd like to see more from Tumi Moshibane. I believe he's a talented player. Andy has ripped that spot away from him with his play. Just really, really good from Andy. Not a great game this game, but it's kind of hard to get on the field when, the guy ahead of you is setting records for most goals in what's the word? 5 games in a row with a goal, I believe.
Yeah.
So
a goal heater.
Yeah, he is killing it. So hopefully maybe in the Jaeger Cup, we get to see some Tumi Moshibane. He is super, super talented. And I think he just needs to find a way to get going. But that's it from Colorado. In any other universe, El Paso wins this game, but rotten luck.
For sure. I think it's interesting that you guys have already played your home and away legs against the Switchbacks. I don't think you have another game against them this year. I know USL scheduling is a little bit different. It tries to regionalize some of the cross-conference scheduling, but within the conference, you guys played week 1 in El Paso and now week 7 in Colorado, and back-to-back ties. So I don't think you guys will probably see them again this year. It's one of the quirks of the USL Championship, and making the schedule work, certainly. All right, so we're heading from Colorado back to the Midwest, over to Indianapolis for the Indy 11 hosting the Charleston Battery. Um, before we get into that game, a little quick Indy USL D1 check. Stadium capacity? Question mark. They announced in 2022 that they had plans to build a brand new 20,000 seater stadium in Indianapolis. I checked on that, and as of March, right now, it is a the site itself was a historic cemetery, like some of like the earliest like European settlers that came to the New World and then were headed west. Like a lot of those people like that died in Indiana are buried on this site, and so there's lots of these old graves and stuff like that. And they were supposed to relocate these bodies, and they haven't done any of that. And as of last month, it's just a lot with a bunch of graves and a bunch of work trucks parked on the graves. So not a good situation going on in Indiana. Um, so the stadium capacity not there. The market certainly well over a million people in the area, and the ownership group is deep and wealthy enough to make it happen. It's the stadium. The stadium part was initially backed because Indy really were one of the teams that was fighting early on for those MLS spots. Since then they kind of backed off. I'm hoping that the idea that USL is adding a D1, Indy 11 seems well prepared to slide into that. They just need to figure out the stadium, and I think the city will get behind it once they have that D1 backing. So we'll have to see. For this game, however, they probably wish they hadn't had a team at all. Myers gets a goal in the 4th minute, and then again in the 8th minute, they're up to nothing early. This is a problem for Indy all season. Rodriguez gets another goal for Charleston in the 49th minute right after halftime. We're at 3-0. My boy Amo played with Detroit City FC last season. Now with Indy 11, gets a goal with 4 minutes stoppage time just to salvage a goal for Indy, but it's not enough for them. So the headline for this game is Indy is done and dusted early. Two early Myers goals helped Charleston on the road. That makes 10 goals allowed in 5 games for Indy. If they can't figure out the defense, they're not going to be probably not going to make the playoffs, but they certainly aren't going to be competitive in the East with all the good teams they have there. Indy was able to generate lots of chances, if you will, 16 shots, only 6 on target, 45% possession. Charleston only had 8 shots, 4 on target, 3 of those went in, 55% possession. Charleston and Louisville, in a league full of parity, the last 2 seasons have been very consistent, and that's hard in this league. So I do acknowledge their consistency there. They're playing well. Um, but that's all I got for that game. Charleston moves on. Let's go to your last game. Let's go to the bright lights of Las Vegas and a game with the lights.
I'm a professional broadcaster. I was muted. So Las Vegas welcomes Tulsa to town and ended up losing 1-4. My subtext for this match is, oh no, they've figured out how to score. A goal explosion for Tulsa. They had 4 goals in 5 matches before this match. They now have 8 goals in 5 matches or in 6 matches. So Las Vegas held the ball 63% of the time. They had more passes, 328 to 182 for Tulsa, with only 73 in the second half. They parked the bus on this one. So 14 minutes, it's that time again. Let's slow things down. Alexander Delu gets the assist, but this goal is all about Stefan Lukic. The Serbian receives the ball like at the top right, like to the right side, well above the box. He gets it, turns, and fires it, and there is absolutely nothing Las Vegas goalkeeper Raiko Rosarena can do about it. He's at full stretch, and this thing goes past him. One of the goals of the season for sure. And the way the USL Championship is going, I'm sure there will be a better goal next week. So we go to the 27th minute. Las Vegas's Rory O'Driscoll, that name doesn't sound real, pushes Taylor Calhera down in the box. Bit of a flop, but O'Driscoll's arm fully extends. It looks like he pushes him in the moment, but when they slowed it down, it's his hand is there, and I don't know if he's grabbing him or what, but Calhera sort of dives and his arm extends with him. So it looks like he fully extends his arm and just one arm shoves this guy down. Calhera finishes the pen himself. So it's 0-2 to Tulsa at this point. In the 42nd minute, we're going to do another one of these things. Giordano Colli. Where do you think he's from, Jimmy?
All right, you got me on this one. Giordano Colli. Is he from Wales?
He's Australian.
Well, at least he speaks English. You know, I'm on the right track here. Here we go.
So Colli sends just a really, really, really nice through ball to a full speed Alex Dowlu. He puts Tulsa up 3-0 heading into the half. So we get to the 49th minute. Tulsa's cornerback Abdoulaye Cisco. He gives up a pen with like a hard sliding foul on Hinaro, the name I'm not going to say ever again. I already said it once. Nigro. I'm not here to get canceled by someone clipping it. But yeah, he slides hard into him and gives up the penalty. Sissoko has had a really, really good season. Again, I've gushed over Tulsa's defensive capabilities, and he's been a huge part of that. He had a bit of a rough one. But Valentin Noel sinks the penalty for Las Vegas, so it's 3-1 at this point. And then the 67th minute, Tulsa puts it away for good. Note on this one is Taylor Calhera is good. Corner sent in, and Las Vegas just sort of short circuits on this. I've watched the replay like several times. I'm still not exactly sure what happens. Like I want to call it like they try to clear it, but the ball just like hits the Vegas defender and sticks to him and sort of just drops. Calhera gets it, and it's not just necessarily like a put away. Like he gets it and then does like a weird little move with it. Like he like pulls it in closer to him and just puts it where Rosarena's not. And it's a really smart goal. Like the man is paying attention. As my dad used to say, keep your head on a swivel. Tulsa hangs on for a 4-1 win. And if this is going to be the trend now, Western Conference, watch out. That's a Tulsa team that can score 4 goals is scary.
Absolutely. I can't help but mention that last week I had just given a Rosarena the Nate Steinwasser Gold Glove watch, and obviously there were some really good goals in this game that he couldn't do anything about. But like going into that game, right? He had started in 3 games, had 3 shutouts, 3 saves, and now he's at 4 games, and he's and his average is 4 goals, or I'm sorry, a goal a game average against after this game. So a stark contrast to the way he has started the season, and that team has started the season really.
They had 3 goals against in 5 matches before this match. Like they're pretty stout defensively, but yeah, that's rough.
I feel like the statement is for USL Championship is nothing is permanent. Absolutely. All right, last game of the week. We're headed down to Tampa Bay to see the NASL Classic. Tampa Bay Rowdies hosting Louisville City. Louisville City gets the win here 2-1. But before we get into the game, a little bit about Tampa Bay. So they were, like I mentioned earlier, they were founded in 2008, the current iteration. They were USSF D2 in 2010 as FC Tampa Bay while they worked on getting the rights to the name. They were in NASL long before this, but the modern iteration from 11 to 16 and then in 2017 joined the USL Championship. And they were also Soccer Bowl which is for the uninitiated. Soccer Bowl is the championship for NASL. So they were the Soccer Bowl winners in 1975, and they were also the Soccer Bowl winners in 2012. So those are their two titles on their record. However, when it comes to this season, wins are hard to come by. Titles are hard to see. Louisville gets a win here, but Tampa Bay at home did get the first goal to take a lead. Bassett hits a shot from probably 25 yards out, takes a really awkward deflection. Goalie kind of loses it, drops in on him. Bassett finally gets a goal after I called him out last week. He was supposed to be the big signing coming from the Canadian Premier League, but finally gets on the score sheet. But Louisville responds. Davila in the 69th minute gets a goal, and then 5 minutes later, Gleedle gets a goal. So the headline from this game is Tampa is on the ropes. That's only one win in regular time this season, including the U.S. Open Cup. They did beat was it FC Naples in the U.S. Open Cup in a shootout earlier in the week, 9-8 on penalties. But outside of that, their only win has been a 2-1 win in regular time against Miami, where Miami had a red card, and that it's looking more impressive as Miami wins, but certainly something's not quite right in Tampa Bay. They had more shots this game, 15 shots, only 3 on target, 55% possession, which you would expect at home. Louisville is fine with that. They had 14 shots, 4 on target, 45% possession. But a workmanlike win for Louisville. I think that they're showing that last year they could dominate the regular season when they needed to, but they just seem to be grinding out wins even when they go behind so far this season. As far as I'm concerned, they are still the team to beat in the East. I know Loudoun is in first place. Loudoun's only loss is on the road at Louisville, so I'm excited for the next matchup between those two teams later this season. Jake.
Robbie Nelson got axed, right?
He did.
Yeah.
He did. A change had to happen. It's not just Cal Jennings. So, that team is still talented enough. They should be getting better results. This week is a tough one to judge just because Louisville is who they are. But going forward in this competitive conference in the East, unless Tampa Bay can find some consistent scoring, Arteaga, who I've been hard on this season, hit a crossbar on a chipped breakaway. If he doesn't get firing, this could be a lost season for Tampa Bay, which would be really devastating because they had a really good season last year. So,
Tampa, if you're looking, hit me up. I'll wear a suit and rip heaters. So we're going to head to the Canardo Forbes Player of the Week Award, and we're going defensive this year. I've been waiting for a moment like this. Big fan of center backs. So we're going to pick a center back this week. It's Miami's Dalton Knutson. So 90 minutes, 1 goal, 44 of 50 passes, 5 of 7 on long balls, 2 for 2 on tackles. He had a block, 13 clearances. 6 of those were headed. 2 out of 3 ground duels and 4 out of 6 aerial duels. He had a hell of a match as Miami gets their win.
I think I appreciate that call out. I did mention that he scored earlier, but I didn't give him the flowers when I talked about the defensive changes that Miami has made. Obviously I highlighted Bill Hamid, but Knutson's been a huge part of that. And in this league, there's a ton of season left. Miami, if they can stay consistent, but they have some talent there. We'll have to see what happens. All right, for the Nate Steinwasser Gold Glove Watch, I kind of gave away the lead here, but this week it is Nico Campuzano. Right now he is sitting on 3 shutouts, which is tied for the league lead in shutouts. He also has 22 saves, which leads the league in saves, and only 5 goals allowed. 5 goals allowed after today. They did end up losing to New Mexico while we were recording, so a 1-0 loss there. So 5 goals allowed on the season. He's an excellent goalkeeper. If Monterey Bay is going to be consistent, and then we've had some false dawns with them the last couple seasons, but if they're going to be consistent, it's going to have to start with him continuing to be a rock for them going forward. The shutouts are a big part of the early season success. So that is the Gold Glove watch this week. Jake, can you before we go, can you kind of highlight with the upcoming schedule what we got for the audience next week?
All right. So, like Jimmy said, we are sort of going to breeze past the 2 matches that happened tonight. New Mexico winning and San Antonio winning. And we are going to launch headfirst into the Jagermeister Cup. We are going to try to convince our fearless leader, Michael, hopefully to join us. I know he's a bit of a League One fan. He's been to several Richmond games. And I've been trying to get him to click up with Loudoun United. So we have a huge slice of games to cover from Friday to Sunday. There are
Oh, he ran out of fingers, ladies and gentlemen.
I had to take my socks off. 17 games to cover. So we will put our heads together and figure out how we're going to go about this. Michael joining us would definitely be a help, and just sort of roundtable it and just go through quick and get those out to you. I can't begin to explain how excited I am for this. This is something that USL, I've been hoping for this since I've become a fan of Locomotive and of the league. This is what they needed to do because they have these levels. It feels like proper fucking football. MLS can't do this. NASL couldn't do this. Like, this is what they do everywhere but here. And USL has the opportunity now. And then especially, with Pro Rel on the horizon, acting like a proper fucking league. And this is cool. You're going to get to see some really neat teams, especially some teams that I haven't had really a chance to watch. For example, El Paso is heading out to Texoma. And I don't know a lot about them. They have a largely British ownership.
They're new this year, right? Texoma.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I believe they were protagonists team of the year one year for like something they had done at the amateur level. But I believe it's British ownership. I think they have a British manager, and then also the corpse of USL legend Solomon Asante, who is famous for the literal fucking punch ball that he scored for Phoenix one year. He twists his body, his fist comes around and collides with the ball, and then they call it a goal, obviously no VAR. And then he's sitting on the sideline after he's subbed out, and they cut to him at like the complete wrong time because he's going like, yeah. So 34-year-old Solomon Asante, a dude who was part of the glory days for Phoenix. That guy, despite that punch ball, just a super, super good player and a great reason to watch the league when he was with Phoenix. Some of the other teams that are going to be exciting to watch, Greenville Triumph has some former Locomotives on the team as well. They've been good for a while. Union Omaha, I know some people from their fan base. Very, very sweet people. They were very welcoming to the Locomotive fans that traveled there for the Open Cup, I believe 2 years ago or maybe last year. Amongst other things, if you got a chance, Louisville versus Richmond Kickers. Richmond has been around forever. I don't know if in the same incarnation.
There's the argument, right? Like the living argument is between them and Charleston, who's the oldest continuous running club.
So them AV Alta, if you have a chance to look at their stadium, they got a big fucking jet plane up on a model stick or whatever, right at the entrance of the park. It's fucking cool. Westchester versus Rhode Island. That'll be fun. Battle of the Northeast. They've broken this up sort of into regions or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool as well. I like the idea of a group stage because a lot of these teams, not the funding of the English teams, and obviously it's a lot easier to travel in England than it is, the giant ass country that we live in. So I think it was really smart to do the group stage the way they did. This, not to just keep beating a dead horse, but this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, and we're gonna have a blast covering it with you guys. But yeah, if you got a chance to watch, definitely watch.
It's all the flavor, right? It's all the flavor that you get from the early rounds of the U.S. Open Cup, and I'm not discounting our amateur teams because I those teams I enjoy, but it's like that the third, fourth round window where you get lots of these like multi-level club matchups before you get into some of the later rounds. It's all of that flavor, and this is a growing cup, right? Because we have the announcement of D1, so like future state, for USL and in this setup, the only thing I can sort of equate it to for those at home, it's kind of like the League Cup or the Carabao Cup within the Premier League, and the English setup, where you're going to include all the divisions within that. So it is really cool. I'm excited for it, and there's going to be lots of really fun, interesting games to cover, and as we talk about the future of USL. So I'm excited for it, certainly. But Jake, it's been fun, buddy.
Real
Oh,
quick,
I'm sorry.
one more game to watch, and
Yes.
I don't know if I'm able to call dibs on this one. I'm going to watch it anyways. But a club that we have both really, really liked, and they've done a really good job with their kits. Portland Hearts of Pine are heading to Hartford Athletic for a Northeast battle. That is going to be fun.
I need everyone on that's listening to understand that Portland is like what they've put together already is so intriguing and so attractive that Jake Kinnicky, who has the loveliest wife, is considering trying to take a vacation to Maine, knowing full well that his beautiful and loving wife has zero interest in any of the cold that comes with the Northeast.
I want to go to that stadium so bad. I mean, it's like a high school stadium or like a small college that's there or whatever. It's got a track around it, but like my dad, I shout out to Pops. Hey Dad, how's it going? I know you're listening. I pick on him about it. He goes like every summer to like a boat building thing in Maine, and my dad can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I like to pick on him and call it like, "Hey, you going to the boat cult this year?" But that's up in Maine. I see the photos that he takes up there. I want to go there so bad. Like I love the Northeast. But yeah, like shout out to Portland. If you're listening, send some merch. But
I'll wear it for every episode if they send us merch. 100%.
That long sleeve is fucking sweet. But yeah, that's probably one of, other than the locomotive game, obviously, that's the game I'm most excited to see. And they've got a USL team that they have the potential to sneak one over on because Hartford ain't that great.
For sure. Well, I just want to say I appreciate everyone who's kind of stuck with us as we've kind of grown and developed our format for this. I know that some of our early episodes are shorter, and I think that largely we like the shorter format, but there's sometimes we might expound upon things like today, and certainly our episode on the USL Jaeger Cup is going to go much longer. So we appreciate you guys staying with us and staying on this magical carpet ride. USL is exciting, and we're just happy to be fans of it, honestly.
Definitely. Anything else, Jimmy?
Nah, man. Well, I gotta get all my notes ready. My notebook is not big enough for all the games that we got coming here.
Oh man, it's gonna be wild. Tune in, folks. Also, I know it's annoying. I know it's an influencer like corny thing, but if you see the video, share the video. If you see the Substack thing, share the Substack, because we're also trying to get eyes on what they're doing at Beyond the 90. Kartik is the man. Mike is the man. Mike's doing a lot of interviews and stuff. Very, very excited to see what he puts out, and we're hoping he joins us next week. So I guess that's it. We'll catch y'all later. Watch the cup.